Hi, how are you? I'm Nicole Lee, Health, Beauty, and More, and I'd like to talk a little about martial law. You probably have heard this term before, martial law, which is a state where the military move in and they can enter your property without a warrant, and um, they can make you leave the premises, and it can be at any time. It's all because of the New World Order agendas for one world currency. And the reasoning behind having it can be any one of many things. One, economic collapse. And as you know, the United States has a lot of problems with their economy. In the state of martial law, they can lock down entire states, the whole country, as a matter of fact. And the president will announce martial law, and he can declare martial law because it's written into his laws that he can override the previous laws which prevent having military come in and wander around the neighborhood and protect and establish areas where they are enforcing this extreme military control. Okay. One of the states that has been earmarked as a primary target is Texas for some reason. I'm not sure if that's because a lot of people have guns in Texas, but it is one of the several states that are earmarked as primary targets for martial law, for instigation of martial law. You will know, if you look, you'll see clues in some parts of America where things are going on, like a lot of unrest with the protesters, maybe people getting out of hand with riots. You'll see increases of that. You'll see increases of other disasters like we've had recently in the schools, and people have come in and gone berserk and offed a lot of people for no reason at all, maybe because of their gender or their sex or whatever the reason. I'm not sure, that I want to go into the details of all of those events, but there's been a series of them increasingly in our country. It's becoming more and more like other countries in Europe, like Germany. If you look over in Germany, where there's a lot of people being raped, people being abused just for having a skirt on, and it's just our rights are being taken away. Other things that could happen is you might see warning signs such as on your mailbox, if there's a red dot, that means that you're one of the targets to be killed. If it's a blue dot, that means you're one of the targets to be taken into a FEMA camp, and I'll go into that too. It's an encampment, which is similar to Nazi Germany, and it may not appear on the outside like a prison, but in essence, you are being imprisoned into an area. Other things, it could be that on your curb, that instead of these dots on your mailbox, you might see red or blue X's or crosses, which have the same significance as the dots. Another clue, if the banks close down, and it may happen at any time when there's an economic collapse, they will use an excuse on the media that there's a virus in the banking system, so you need to wait till 3 days. Say that if it's on a Friday, they'll say come back on Monday. And at that time, if that is happening, you'll have 72 hours to make your move. You may want to hunker down. You may want to leave the area. It's up to you. The inner cities would be the first targets, though. If I were you, I would have emergency supplies on hand for an emergency situation such as this. Not to exclude batteries, flashlights, radio, water, water filter, cooking apparatus, matches, food, clothing. You'll just start making a list of supplies and medications and things that you may need for the time being. You may not be able to get into any establishment because things will be locked down. The doctors won't be available. Stores will be closed. There'll be more looting. It's a time that you have, that grace period, to do something. Your money may not be good. Do you have silver? Because silver is known to have some value. Do you have ammo? Do you own a gun? That's something to consider too for your emergency supply. Although there are people say that the military can come in and confiscate those things as well, if you are one that has one. Now, all around the country, they have been preparing for emergencies, is what they call it, and taking over malls. A lot of them have shut down because they're becoming passé, and they've been training the military in here for emergencies. This is by FEMA, which we know as the government agency that comes in when there's an emergency. But in this case, it's more than just that. They are actually reconstructing different areas where they can put in towers for guards and hold people and detain them. So the guards are there like a prison. Previously, the National Security Directive 51 is the one that the president has the ability to declare martial law. And even President Bush in 2007, he gave power to the president to begin to be able to do this enforcing of martial law when there is a disaster or an economic collapse. So we used to have laws that restricted military from coming in and detaining people, but that is being overridden by the president. They're bypassing that law. It's unconstitutional. They're not supposed to be patrolling the street, but the president has given the military that free will to do that at any time he calls out for that action to take place and deploy United States troops on our soil. Some of the funding for these staffing and outfitting of the emergency environment camps are by a company called Halliburton, which you may have heard of. Other than that, I know that you're going to get a lot of false information if you are one to listen only to the mainstream media. They like to sugarcoat things, so I would beware of that and try to get your news from some alternative news sources. I like Alex Jones. I like well, O'Reilly's not too bad, but he doesn't really give you all the latest details. But I'm thinking of another one, a couple other ones that I go to, but I'll have to look into and give you the names of them, of these anchors that are pretty truthful and down to earth. So I will put that into my show more under the heading. Okay, so make sure you subscribe and take care of yourself. Enjoy each day as it comes. Don't get too worried now. Take care. Nicole, Health, Beauty, More.